Welcome to Missionize with the Missions Guys, a podcast of the Arkansas Baptist State Convention offering biblical and practical insight and strategies designed to equip and encourage missions leaders to carry on mission work. The goal is to fulfill the Great Commission from a church's local community to the ends of the earth. That is why we missionize. Now here are your hosts, the Missions Guys, Sam Roberts and Clint Ritchie.
Welcome to Missionize. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Clint Ritchie here with our co-host, Dr. Sam Roberts, and we are coming to you from the basement of the Arkansas Baptist State Convention. We got some new digs, Dr. Sam.
We do. I'm glad to be back.
That's right. Back downstairs. They've moved the podcast studio around. Don't know why. I figure the new Arkansas Baptist women host probably got us kicked out of the room upstairs.
Of the closet upstairs?
Yeah. So here we are, new spot. And, as we record this, the weather's starting to change. By the time we are listening to it, we're probably fussing about the heat at this point. But joining us today is Randy Garrett, our disaster relief director. Now, Randy has been interviewed by reporters, has been on live TV. He has been in the room with dignitaries, but Randy has now arrived. He has reached the pinnacle of his life because he's joining us on Missionize today. So, Randy, welcome to Missionize.
Well, thank you. I appreciate y'all having us.
Well, many of our listeners know who you are by your position. I mean, you wear a yellow shirt most of the time. It stands out in a crowd. And we won't talk about the gray hair or anything, but they may really not know you. So we're going to start off today, but with some rapid fire questions so that the listeners of Missionize get to know really who is Randy Garrett. So here we go. Favorite meal?
Okay, Sunday after church, roast with all the good vegetables, the gravy with white bread, and I normally eat half a loaf of bread when I do this. So as you can tell, I don't back away.
Favorite restaurant?
Purple Cow and Larry's Pizza. Yep.
What is your go-to relaxation spot?
We like to get in the camper and go to a state park or someplace just to get away.
All right. That was Dr. Sam. That was a revelation to me. I thought it was his office. I didn't have any idea.
There have been multiple times I have stepped into Randy's office and witnessed him relaxing.
Yeah.
So it could be.
So, all right. Besides the Bible, what's your favorite book?
Okay, this is he's passed away. Tom Clancy and Hunt for the Red October. You ever read that book?
I haven't.
Seen the movie.
Yeah, I've seen it in the movie, and to enlighten yourself. There's other things to do besides just read the Bible every day, Clint.
Is this movie black and white?
No.
Okay. Favorite podcast?
Favorite podcast? Oh my goodness, what is a podcast?
You are on one right now. We'll give you a hint, Randy.
Supposed to just say Missionize.
Your podcast, of course.
Okay,
no question.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Favorite genre of music?
Country, of course.
All right. First concert you attended?
So I had to really think on this one. I think, I don't know for sure, but I think it was Three Dog Night. Has anybody heard
come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, there was at the
Randy was the rocker back in the day.
That's right, Barton Coliseum. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Favorite place to visit?
Ponca on the Buffalo River.
With the camper, right?
With the camper, yep.
Favorite sport?
Arkansas Razorbacks, football primarily, but depending what the season is, baseball, basketball, whatever's going on, but primarily the Razorbacks.
That's right. And we might as well throw out the story. Arkansas's best year of football in recent memory occurred after we go to the Little Rock Touchdown Club and Sam Pittman walks by and lays his hand on your shoulder, just pats on you, goes on.
That's true, and that was the best season he's had so far.
Yeah, 9 wins that year.
And so we have tried to get me in front of him again, but we haven't been able to. So maybe this coming year when we go back over there, we can say, hey, this is how you're going to, put your hands on him, and maybe you'll win.
Yeah. So I'm sure he listens. So Coach Pittman, reach out to us here and let's organize this meeting.
The slogan of disaster relief as providing help, hope, and healing, that's pretty pertinent for the Arkansas Razorbacks.
That's right.
Really, this, in fact, after
Help.
I've heard the red-white game is maybe not going to be played this year because of course, the weather coming in. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
So, Randy, getting to the point of disaster relief, tell us about your disaster relief journey. How did you get involved that led you to where you are now?
Well, so I go to Church of Rock Creek, and Hurricane Katrina was going full swing, and so the missions pastor came to me and said, "I'm going to take a team down to Louisiana and help folks." So we got 6 of us, got in a van, and now you got to visualize this. There's a front seat and a passenger seat, but there's no other seats. So we were sitting in lawn chairs, or we were I mean, seriously. And we had the saws in the back, and so we head off and go to Louisiana. And so didn't know where we were going. We ended up in DeQuincy, Louisiana, and the Lord does take care of idiots, because we did some stuff that I think I've recaptured all the pictures, but there was some video that I haven't found yet that shows what we're doing in a tree. So we had a ladder against the tree, and we were climbing out on limbs.
Oh, please don't. No. Let's not go
so
there.
now, anyway, so we got back, and we thought, well, if we're going to do this, we better do it right. So we joined the convention, started getting trained up, and that was back Katrina 2006. So that's how I got started.
Okay, so that was prior to receiving training with the Arkansas Baptist.
We had no training whatsoever.
Okay, you guys went rogue.
Yeah,
right?
My goodness,
okay,
yes.
Okay,
Yeah, we were.
Thanks for that clarification.
We were no helmets, no equipment, no PPE, protection equipment. And we were just down there being stupid, and
And so how long have you served in this current position as director?
Okay, I came on board December of 2014.
Okay.
So this will be, I'm in the 11th year.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Now, we know that the goal of disaster relief is to provide help, healing, and hope. And it's in times of disaster that yellow shirt army shows up and they serve. And they stay there until the need is met.
Correct.
Got to experience that myself when I was a pastor at Stuttgart. We had the tornado there. Those yellow shirts came, and folks in Stuttgart still talk about those yellow shirts that showed up and helped out during that time and stayed until everything was complete. Now, throughout our state, we have teams that stand ready to respond when disaster strikes. Randy, take a moment and kind of explain to our listeners what are those different disciplines in disaster relief, those different teams that individuals can participate in.
Sure, love to. So total number of teams in the state are about 50. And their positions anywhere in the state, if something happens, we pretty well got a team close by. And the disciplines that we offer is the box ministry. I'm going to elaborate on that here in just a minute. Communications, of course, flood, chainsaw, shower and laundry. And then we have chaplaincy as well as our incident management team. I always get a question, okay, what in the world is the box ministry? Well, the box ministry is that, and we've got 5 teams around the state that have this. We bring a box ministry in, and when there's been a disaster, people had nothing to put their belongings in. And so we come in and help them put their belongings that they want to save. And during this time, we're there with the families. And so we're able to witness to them. We're able to share our gospel with them. And of all the things we do, that one ministry, we have more professions of faith through that ministry than anything else. And you think,
Wow.
well, how in the world are they? And so I hate to say this, but we copied what Texas has been doing. And so that's how that kind of evolved. And so we have 5 around the state, and they do a wonderful job. Wonderful job.
That's incredible.
Yes.
At the time of our recording, our state has recently been hit with tornadoes and some major flooding. How have Arkansas Baptists responded to this latest disaster?
Like we always do. Every time I make a phone call to a unit leader, that's what we call our unit leader, blue caps on our teams. They say, "Okay, let me get some guys out." And so it's just a blessing to be to be part of it. And I don't consider myself. I mean, somebody's got to tell them what to do, but I don't. I just make the inquiries, and then they go run with it. And so it's a blessing to see anywhere in the state. If I make a phone call, they're ready to go. Yes.
And so just coming to the studio today, walking down the hallway, we had a couple of our disaster relief volunteers in
Correct.
the building because they are going out to assess
Correct.
Some damage that's still here in central Arkansas.
Right.
Explain to the listeners those first people who show up,
Okay.
the assessors, the chaplains, what's their responsibility?
Okay, so what we do, it's kind of it's a process. So when I get a report, somebody says, okay, something is happening. Just take Fort Smith, Arkansas. We like to have fresh eyes look at it because when I get a phone call from people that have experienced that disaster, it's normally the worst thing they've ever seen. So what we do first, I get somebody up there and we do what we call a windshield tour. Mm-hmm. And they just go real quick around the areas, and then we determine, yes, we need to bring some folks in. So we have teams of assessors and chaplains, and it's normally made up of 3 people. You've got a chaplain or 2 and an assessor. And while the assessor is actually assessing the property, then our chaplains can visit with the family. And so we do that process, and we get a real good handle. Then we determine, well, we need to bring in a shower and laundry. We need to bring in feeding teams. And from that, we develop what we need to do as far as getting people whole again.
And those assessors, their responsibility is to, like you said, to assess that situation, the
Right.
damage.
Yes.
They assign a priority scale to
Correct.
that.
1 to 3, yes, sir.
And
Yep.
then that's how we determine which
Right.
teams to send in to respond. Now, with the flooding, and like Clint said, while we're recording this, we've already had tornadoes come through where we've experienced some flooding in the northeastern part of our state and getting ready for some flooding in the southern part.
Correct.
What's that team that we send in with flooding to help homeowners?
Okay, that's the flood recovery team. And so the main basic thing what we do there is we help the property owner salvage anything that they can. And we here in the state of Arkansas, we especially in the summer months, we've got the mold is going to be you can almost see the black mold grow. And so we go in there, we help them get all their furniture out and everything that they want that they want to keep. And then we go in and we start taking out wherever the water level came up to, we go about 10, 12 inches above that, whether it be a drywall or whatever it is. Sometimes we have to remove the floors. We get all that out of there, then we come in with a product, Shockwave, and we spray it down. It kills all the mold. Bleach won't do it. It looks like bleach does it, but it doesn't do it. So we go in there and we spray it down, and we get the property ready for they can start doing the rebuild. And the problem we've got in the state of Arkansas, which is acute, is that a lot of these places that flood seems like they find a place to flood where there's not the property has no insurance.
Yeah.
And so when we leave, they're kind of left with how do we recover from this? And so some of the other states have got a real like North Carolina has an unbelievable rebuild teams that go out, and so. That's something that we need to look into and see if we can develop that a little bit more. Because I know in the state of Arkansas, we've got all kind of guys that are handy, and ladies and guys that can go out and help folks do that process.
Okay, guys, that's putting a challenge out there.
Yep.
And a call, a plea.
Yep.
For another team to be developed with disaster relief.
Correct. Yep.
Of using those individuals across our state who love to come in and build to help these homeowners. Because, like Randy said, a lot of these folks, when they experience a flood, they have no insurance to fall back on.
Correct.
But we're limited right now in what we can do, and that's getting them to the point where they can rebuild.
Yes, sir.
So any of you who have an interest in that, give us a call. Give a call to Randy. Touch base with me, with Clint. We'd love to get this started within our state. Now, Randy, one of the things that I have really been encouraged with in your leadership here in our state is the focus you have on that hope component of disaster relief. And you've done that by encouraging a focus upon evangelism,
Correct.
upon sharing the gospel. Now, any team member can share the gospel, and the great majority of those in disaster relief do. But it's often the chaplains that spend that time with people affected by a disaster, just like you explained earlier, going out with assessors, and they are talking to the homeowners while that assessor is assessing the situation. Tell us, why have you made it a goal to increase the number of chaplains, and how does someone become a disaster relief chaplain?
Okay. So when I first got into, leadership here at the convention, disaster relief, we had chaplains, but the chaplains were only going out and being servicing the units. There was nobody that was actually looking at the public, and so everybody has I got your moment. So I'm in Jonesboro, Arkansas, with Larry Turner. And we're assessing a property, and after you get through, Larry turns to the property owner and says, can I tell you about Jesus? Or do you know if you died tonight, do you know you go to heaven? And I thought, wow, where'd that come from? So the property owner says, let me get my family and explain it to them. And so that was my gotcha moment. And so from that point forward, I started saying, okay, we know we're here to help folks, but we're also here for for their salvation. And so we have now over 100 chaplains in the state of Arkansas. So how do you do that? How do you become a chaplain? It's real easy. First of all, you got to be a volunteer. You got to be a volunteer with us. And the next thing you need to do,
Which means you have to go through a training, correct?
Yes.
In one of the disciplines.
One of the disciplines, yeah, just anything. And feeding, chainsaw, whatever. And the next thing you need to do is there's 2 classes that we ask you to attend. Is CISM, and CISM is the critical stress management. That we have some great people that come in. In fact, the gentleman that teaches that, we just had a class here last week, is the chaplain for the FBI. And so, I mean, you can't get any better than that. And he's been to all these terrible situations. And then we have a DR chaplaincy that's led by Ted Darling. And once you get that and you're good to go, we don't just throw you out there. We try to get you with somebody that has done it and been there. And so it's kind of an OJT for the first couple times. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Great. When a major disaster hits, a lot of folks show up for those. The news is there to, and that gets a lot of attention. But what people may not know, there's other still disasters, but smaller disasters that occur where first responder units, what they're referenced, are able to show up on a smaller scale, get there quickly, and tell us about those. And tell us, I know one of those served in Fordyce a little over a year ago when tragedy struck Fordyce in a mass shooting. Kind of tell us about that first responder unit and what they did in Fordyce.
Okay. Let me kind of clarify here. We're not really first responders, because the first responders primarily work for the Office of Emergency Management people, and they go in and they're the ones that look at, they check the homes and see what, anything's going on. But this situation in Fordyce, you're talking about, I'm sure you're talking about the quick response kitchens that we were able to, yeah. So what we did, I get a phone call that morning, and of course it was blasted all over the news what was going on down there. And so I made a phone call to the folks in Arkadelphia at Red River Association. They have a quick response kitchen, and they're ready to go. They've got food on site. So what we did, we got them down to, went into the town, and we were going to first set up at the church. And so the first responders, which in this case was everybody, the state police, the counties, I mean, anybody was at that scene. And so the sheriff came and said, hey, we don't want you at the church. We want you down here with us. So they opened up the barricades, and we were right across the street from the Mad Butcher. And that parking lot, of course, was just full with everybody, the first responders. And this was the first time that I had ever been that close to something like this. And I noticed immediately that these guys were hurting, because, I mean, it was just a devastating ordeal what happened down there. So I called Ted Darling, And Ted is, he's also a chaplain with us, but he's also a chaplain with the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. And so Ted came in, and he was there helping those guys. And so the brotherhood of everything that came together, it was just amazing. And I was just so glad that we were able, and the Lord opens doors for us. Every time we go out and do stuff, I'm amazed at the things that we're able to do. And so the Lord just said, put us in that situation. And we fed the guys. We visited with the guys. And we're talking about hardened, police, first responders, and it affected all of them. You could tell, you could see it. That later in that afternoon, that evening, it was a trying day, and I'm just glad that we were ever there to help a little bit.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, when disaster occurs, just like Clint said, a lot of people show up. People just come out of the woodwork, Randy.
Yeah.
We noticed that in Stuttgart, tornado, and then all of a sudden, boom, everybody in driving distance, and
Yep.
some from further, you wouldn't say they showed up.
Yep.
They were there at our doorstep because people just want to help. We look at our state, mostly rural, a lot of good boys,
Yep.
good old boys in the state, and everybody has a chainsaw, and they've been working the chainsaw since, they were in junior high or earlier.
Yep.
So why do people need to attend training with disaster relief?
Everybody, my saying is when they hear, everybody was born in Arkansas, they have a chainsaw and a pickup truck, which is pretty close to being truth. But when I first got into disaster relief, like when we went down there and did the crazy things we did, we got back and went through the training with Greg and Hutchinson, and Greg is he has forgotten more about chainsaw safety than anybody that know, and so we bring them in, and the safety aspect of running a saw is most critical. And if you don't run it safely with us, you don't run a saw. Mm-hmm. In fact, when we have these other folks that show up, we say, yeah, you can go cut, but you go cut over here by yourself, because we don't like them getting it with us, because they swing those saws around and do some stupid stuff. And so it's critical that we go through the training. And even after that, we still do on the job training, and we have safety officers. I mean, it's pretty. We just don't let you give you a saw and go out there and start cutting.
So when is the next training event?
We got August the 9th at New Life in Alexander, Arkansas, and then we go up to Northwest Arkansas in Rogers on Olive Street on September the 6th.
And how does someone get more information and register for the training?
Very, very easy. We have a website. It's abscdisasterrelief.org. And the disaster relief is spelled out, so it's abscdisaster relief, relief.org.
Okay.
And that gives you information how to register, and it gives you all the information about training.
Okay. And what's the cost?
If you're new, it's $30.
Okay.
If you're re-upping, if you're coming in and taking the, basically it's the background check. Mm-hmm. Every 3 years we've got to have a background check, and that's $20. But if you're within the 3-year period and you just want to get another discipline, it's free.
Okay.
And one of our teams will cook, and we have a good time.
So abscdisasterrelief.org.
Correct.
You can find all the information about the upcoming trainings and register there.
Randy, we like to let our guest have the last word. So what else would you like for our listeners to know?
Well, I equate this position as like somebody that has played, baseball. This is not a job to me. And I think the Lord prepared me for everything I did. I'm retired from the telephone company. I did consulting work and other things. But everything that I've done in my life has prepared me for what I'm doing right now. And the fellowship that I've developed, the friendships that I've developed, working with you guys in the missions team, and just every aspect of it, it's just a joy to do this. And if you think that you want to come in and be with us, this is not for everybody. But I ask you, come and do one deployment one training, one deployment, and just see if it's something you want to do. And after that, you can, have fun with us.
Hey, I want to add one last thing before you wrap up there, Clint, and want to just say that we have disaster relief teams that are ready to go at a moment's notice when a disaster strikes for two reasons. First of all, we just have an incredible army of volunteers.
Over 2,000.
And that over 2,000.
Yeah.
And that number continues to increase each year. As we have these regional trainings, a great majority of those folks who come are first time.
Correct.
That come to the trainings. And so we're always adding to that number. But I also want our listeners to know that these teams are ready to go because of the dedicated and generous giving of Arkansas Baptist to Dixie Jackson and to the cooperative program. And in addition to that, because that's just a piece of the pie,
Correct.
of the financial needs that are there to operate disaster relief within our state. And keep in mind, guys, disaster relief, yes, Arkansas is our home, and we respond to disasters here, but we also belong to the big family of disaster relief of Southern Baptist. And so when we are called upon, we go to our neighbors and we help them.
Right.
Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri,
New York.
New York. We've sent teams recently, North Carolina, West Virginia. So teams go everywhere. And because of that generous giving, they are able to go. But the need is greater than what we can provide through Dixie Jackson and through the cooperative program. And so we also are grateful for some incredible gifts that have been made possible through churches that have chosen to give a special offering to disaster relief, and through individuals who have said, I love this ministry. I want to support this ministry. And so grateful for those gifts. And I just want to say that your church, hey, thank you for your giving through Dixie Jackson. Thank you for your giving through the cooperative program. Thank you especially for that additional giving that you provide as a church, but also as individuals. We have on that same website, abscdisasterrelief.org, there is a donate button there that individuals can go to, that a church can go to, and you can leave a gift. If you want to talk with folks here at our state, maybe about how you can put disaster relief into your estate planning. We have people here with our Arkansas Baptist Foundation that would love to speak with you about that. So maybe some of those folks who are listening that are saying, I love this ministry, I want to know how I can support it even more fully. Go to the website, hit that donate button, and we are grateful and will continue to be grateful for the giving of Arkansas Baptist and our Arkansas Baptist churches that make this ministry possible.
Correct.
Clint, take us out of here.
Well, I think just one last thing is the reminder that the large Southern Baptist Disaster Relief family, that's the third largest relief organization in the world, behind Red Cross and Salvation Army.
Yeah.
And oftentimes when you see those guys delivering meals at a disaster, it was cooked by one of our folks.
Yeah.
So it's just, again, another example of Arkansas Baptist being involved in touching lives, changing lives, and seeing the gospel go to the ends of the earth. So, Randy, thank you for your leadership. And be sure and check out abscdisasterrelief.org so that you can become a part of the Yellow Shirt Army. Thanks for listening. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks for joining the Missions Guys today. If you liked what you heard, rate and review us on your favorite podcasting platform. And to keep up with what is happening in Arkansas Missions, visit absc.org/missions.